Iran is moving further away from the 2015 nuclear deal, with the country now announcing its third step in uranium enrichment. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani has announced that his country would now abandon all its commitments related to the 2015 nuclear deal and move ahead with the next step, development of centrifuges.
ما شاهد گسترش در تحقیق و توسعه در زمینه سانتریفیوژ ها، انواع سانتریفیوژ های جدید و هر آنچه که ما نیاز داریم برای غنیسازی انجام بده سازمان انرژی اتمی ما و ما شاهد سرعت عمل در این زمینه باشیم.
The centrifuges will be developed from Friday and will accelerate the process of uranium enrichment. Rouhani said that the step is aimed at protecting Iranian interests and that the nuclear fuel will be used at the power plants and not for developing missiles. As per the nuclear deal between Iran and the Western countries, it was obliged to keep only a small number of first-generation centrifuges at power plants. The United States, meanwhile, is not easing the sanctions on Iran, but is definitely keeping the door open for diplomacy. On the one hand, they have imposed sanctions on Iranian vessels. They have accused the Iranian National Guard of securing the oil vessels headed towards Syria and Hezbollah. But US President Donald Trump refused to rule out a direct meeting with President Rouhani at the UN General Assembly.
Sure, anything's possible. They would like to be able to solve their problem. They got a big problem. They're getting killed financially. Their inflation is at a number that few people have ever seen inflation at. And it's a very sad situation. They could solve it very quickly. We could solve it in 24 hours. But we'll see what happens.
In more news from Iran, it has released 7 Indian sailors from the detained British tanker. There were a total of 23 crew members on board the Stena Impero. Iranian Foreign Ministry said that the ship's captain selected 7 members who were to be released. There is no information on the fate of the remaining crew. This comes on the same day when Russia and India said that they plan to continue legitimate economic and trade cooperation with Iran. This was a part of the joint statement released after Prime Minister Modi and President Putin's bilateral talks. Here's a quick recap of the Stena Impero seizure. The British tanker was detained by Iran on the 19th of July this year. This was when the ship was passing through international waters of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran alleged that the ship had broken international maritime rules. The Stena Impero was then brought to the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas, and the ship remains anchored there till date. Stena Impero's detention was in retaliation to Britain's detention of Iranian supertanker Grace 1. Over to all the latest from Hong Kong. As China has given in to unarmed protesters, it's unheard of. The mighty Chinese state does not believe in giving any concessions, and this could be the biggest political loss faced for Beijing. The controversial bill that triggered the Hong Kong protests has now been withdrawn. The announcement came from Carrie Lam, the chief executive of Hong Kong. The controversial extradition bill stands scrapped. This is unprecedented because China does not give in to protesters. History is proof of how China crushes dissent. Case in point, the Tiananmen Square massacre of 1989. That's how China generally responds to democracy and dissent. But now the protesters in Hong Kong and the global scrutiny of the police violence have forced China to withdraw the bill. It's a big win for the peaceful protesters in the face of China's threats and troops. It's a remarkable moment in history.
特區政府會正式撤回條例草案，完全釋除市民嘅疑慮。保安局局長會喺立法會復會後，按議事規則動議撤回條例草案。
The withdrawal of the extradition bill has, however, not impressed the people of Hong Kong. They say this decision is too little too late.
2個月前已經要話要撤回嘅時候，佢唔肯去回應啦，唔肯去直接回應。咁但係去到而家佢先講，但係其實已經社會上浮現咗好多其他唔應該出現嘅問題，例如好似警察佢哋濫捕方面嘅問題啦。咁所以
Pro-democracy activists want the government to meet 5 demands. The extradition bill is just one of them. Over 1,000 people have been arrested, several severely injured in these protests. The protesters want clarification on all the issues. They want the police to be held accountable for the violence. They say that the protests will continue, at least till China's National Day on October 1st.
Our protest must continue at least until 1st of October, the China's National Day. We're strongly aware the tactics behind Beijing government.
It's up to our young protesters on the front line to decide how they should take it. And my immediate impression is they are adamant about the 5 demands being met before their fight would actually stop.
Carrie Lam says she's open to dialogue. The withdrawal of the bill and the attempt to reach out is plain and simple damage control. There's a lingering question. Why would Carrie Lam withdraw the extradition bill now?